I'm Chris, you're watching FRAG-MENTAL, thanks for joining me. Today's predicament is I have to choose 12 fragrances for the year, one for each month, and toss out the rest. Stay tuned. I was tagged by Tony from the channel Pulse Points. Thanks Tony for the tag, I appreciate it. I will leave a link to Tony's channel in the description, so go along there and see what his 12 designer fragrance choices were. I was also tagged by Ashton from GenSense because he tagged every YouTuber in the world to do this video, so yeah. I'm thinking I'm tagged. I have to choose 12 fragrances, one for each month of the year, so I've picked these according to what the temperatures are likely to be in those months. So I have 12 amazing designer fragrances to show you today that would certainly get me through a year, no problem. January is a cold one, so what better way to start the year than a wee dram of whiskey from Mugler? It's pure malt. Pure Malt is a sweet and fruity fragrance with warming woods and of course that beautiful whiskey accord. It's a pretty unique fragrance. I don't think I've smelled anything that smells quite like this. It's very mass appealing, definitely going to get you some compliments. If you want compliments, get this. Pure Malt, pure fun. February and that cold weather can still be a little extreme, so we need an extreme fragrance. My favourite of the Spicebombs, it's Spicebomb Extreme. Yeah, so February's still a little chilly, so we need something cozy and comforting. Spicebomb Extreme certainly gives you that. This is my favourite of the Spicebombs because I just love the extra thickness and depth that it has. We've got some sweet vanilla, the spices of course, and the tobacco. This is an extremely mass appealing fragrance. It is sure to get you compliments and will certainly help you to penetrate the cold winter air. Mass appealing, assertive, Spicebomb Extreme will certainly help you smash through Feb. On to March, my birthday month, so I need to choose a fragrance that has my favourite note in it, which is tobacco, but this is definitely lighter and brighter than the previous two fragrances from Dolce & Gabbana. It's the one. EDP. This one is the EDP and performance still isn't amazing, but it's not bad. I prefer to wear this one as we're just coming out of the colder months into slightly warmer weather because that just helps with the performance a little bit. Despite there being tobacco in here, it's not a dark resinous tobacco, it's a very smoothly blended fragrance, so I think the tobacco is probably more of a supporting note. The brighter notes in this fragrance are the orange blossom, grapefruit and ginger, so gives it a nice little bit of lift, which works well on days that can be slightly cooler or days that can be slightly warmer. March can be that kind of month. Basically, whatever March can throw at you, the one can handle it. It's April, we are properly into spring, so I'm going with a fragrance from what is probably my favourite designer house. This one just works a treat for me year round, but I particularly love it in the spring. From Dior, it's Sauvage Parfum. This is a crisp and gentlemanly citrus aromatic fragrance. It's sophisticated and assertive. I find this quite confidence inspiring. It's got brightness, but it's also got the depth of woods and resins. I'd say it leans a little more mature, so this is more of a fragrance you might want to wear in a swanky cocktail bar than a nightclub. It's a timeless scent DNA that feels classic but never dated. It's a little heavier than the original EDT, so if you want something a little more subtle and understated, that one might be better for you. But for me, this is the perfect balance of boldness and sophistication. May is a transitional month, so it can be hot, cold, or anywhere in between, so I need a fragrance that is going to work in any temperature, something that is super versatile. One of the best smelling, most versatile fragrances I own is from Chanel, and it's Allure Sport Eau Extrême. Talk about compliments, for me this one might just be the king. Mandarin, mint, a whole lot of tonka bean. It's a very slick, sexy, modern smelling fragrance. The sports label on here just a little bit misleading because I think wearing something only for sports offers us a very narrow field of opportunity to wear a fragrance. This is very versatile. It can be worn anywhere, anytime, any occasion, and it just nails it every time. And for me, Allure Sport Eau Extreme would be a very, very strong contender to only ever own one fragrance. It's June, things are heating up a little bit, so I'm going for a classic summer aquatic fragrance that may lack a little bit of excitement, but it more than makes up for it with its solid, crowd-pleasing DNA. I'm doubling up on my Chanels. It's Bleu de Chanel. This is the EDP. We've got citrus, incense and woods, and I think these notes together elevate this fragrance above many other freshies that you might reach for in the summer. This is a strong, clean, very masculine fragrance that has better depth and lasting power than most other summer freshies out there. So good.
Join the Scent Geeks every Monday as we podcast about all things fragrance. You'll find us anywhere you can usually find a podcast. Links are in the description below this video. See you there, geeks.
Okay, it's July and I'm picking this fragrance assuming it's going to be nice and hot and sunny, which might be a little bit optimistic of me living here in the UK, but even if it's not cracking the flags, I think this fragrance would still work really well, as long as it's not too cold. It's Terre Ombre Fraiche. Refreshing and invigorating orange is the keynote here, and unlike the original Terre d'Hermes, this one does not have vetiver in, so if you're not a vetiver fan, this could be a good choice for a summer fragrance. This was a hard pick between this one and Tom Ford's Mandarino di Amalfi Aqua, which is just an amazing sparkling Mandarin-based citrus fragrance, but I've already got a couple of Toms on this list, so I didn't want Tom Ford to dominate things too much. It's basically citrus and woods, so a light and simple smell, but that's all you really need in the hot sun. This is a very well put together fragrance with pretty decent performance in the warm weather, simple but effective. Things are still hot in August, so I'm keeping things cool with one of my favourite summer freshies from Dolce & Gabbana. It's Light Blue Eau Intense. Okay, so this one is just another citrus woody fragrance, but I find the DNA of this to be quite distinctive. It's got a very beautiful aromatic nature to it, which is possibly coming from the juniper in here. This is like standing by the ocean and breathing in that fresh sea air. Absolutely gorgeous. Very easy to wear in the summer, and somehow this seems to elevate itself above a lot of other summer freshies. Good stuff. In September, things are cooling off a little bit, so I like to try to get back to those rich, darker scents as soon as possible. This one though is not too rich or heavy for the slightly warmer days that we can get in September. From Azzaro, it's Wanted by Night. If it's a hot day, go easy on the trigger, but I think it still has enough freshness and lift to work. There's some bright citruses, some lavender, some sweet fruit, which lead us into resins, tobacco, and even leather in the base. It's as if Wanted by Night is gently taking me by the hand and leading me from summer into autumn, which is where we're going next. October is a season of change. The colour palette is reds and browns and oranges. We've got the earthy smell of decaying vegetation. This fragrance, for me, just works perfectly at this time of year. From Tom Ford, it's Ombre Leather. A less complex and easier to wear version of the Tuscan leather DNA. It has sweet fruits combining with rich, smooth leather that just works perfectly against the backdrop of autumn. This is mass appealing and will stand out in a bold and confident way. If you love the Tuscan leather DNA, but you may be a little bit worried that it's too potent or too challenging for others around you to enjoy, I can definitely recommend trying Ombre Leather. I mean, we may as well just call it October Leather. November, and this was a very tough choice. It was between two Dior fragrances that I really love. We've had leather in the previous 2 months, so I thought I'd go for something different than Dior Homme Parfum for November, and I've chosen Dior Homme Intense. metrosexual powdery iris with a chocolatey accord make this one of the most stunning designer fragrances that I own. I love wearing this. I will never tire of wearing this. To me, this is a sexy modern man smell, or so I like to think. Cheeky bit of floral, blended in with some rich, sweet notes, give this one a strong masculinity. Having said that, I think this is quite a unisex fragrance and I would love to smell this on a woman. It's December, the month of Christmas, so lots of celebrations. It's a colder month. We indulge, we eat rich foods, we drink a little bit more, and a fragrance that really connects me with the indulgences of December is Tom Ford's Tobacco Oud. It's woody, it's spicy, it's whiskey, we've got the oud accord and some incense. This is a bold, charismatic fragrance that really means business. And compared to a lot of other designer fragrances, this smells more complex and more niche. By the way, I do class Tom Ford as a luxury designer, as technically it's not a niche fragrance, even though you could argue prices are up there in the niche territory. But luxury designer is where I place this one. I love how it creatively pushes the boundaries of perfumery, like a lot of the other Tom Ford private blends. And for that reason, Tobacco Oud, just like Christmas, is worth celebrating. So those are my 12 choices based on what I have in my collection. It was really hard, I could have picked other fragrances, but these are the 12 I went with. I'm sure your choices will be very different. These are the ones that are personal to me. So now I have to tag some people. I'm going to tag George, the fragrance apprentice, because he's making a couple of videos again. So George, let's see your 12 fragrances. I know you'll love doing this one. I'm also going to tag Tony from the channel Predicted. Tony's all over the place at the moment, in a good way. I mean, he's doing loads of live streams, he's putting out loads of great reviews, his channel is really growing, so do go and watch Tony's channel, Predicted. I will link both those channels in the description below, so please do go check them out, see what their 12 choices are, and go and subscribe to them if you like their content. That's me done. I've talked about fragrances enough for one day. Time to go and have a cup of tea. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. Thank you so much for watching. It is greatly appreciated. Remember, keep tuning into FM, keep smelling good, and I'll see you in the next one.